I didn't know my dog was struggling until I started to look at the world through his eyes. And then everything changed. Welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk. I'm Em, and this is one of our new solo episodes. These episodes are focused on you and me having real conversations about what real dog life behind the scenes actually looks like. I won't be editing out any of the barking, any of the chaos, any of the nonsense that happens. If you get a quiet episode, you get a quiet episode. If not, you're going to get the real life on the porch, in the house, behind the computer, wherever we're at. Because if we're not being honest here, what are we even doing? These episodes are short, sweet, and honest, designed specifically for the pet parent who's struggling with a dog that doesn't quite fit into the normal mold that Instagram serves up on a silver platter. You're not alone here. Today, we're going to talk about something really personal for me: reactivity. And not just what it looks like, but what it feels like for you and your dog. And to really get into it, I want to share a story with you, because the truth is, I didn't get it right the first time around. In fact, I got it wrong for a long time. 4 years. That's right. 4 years. I got it wrong for 4 years. It's kind of hard to say that, honestly, knowing that I got it wrong for so long. Almost half of his life. Now I got it wrong. More than half of his life before. Yikes. That feels kind of icky. So I'm glad you're here, because you're doing something about it. And whether it's been as long as me or longer than me, it doesn't matter, because you're here making positive change, learning for you and your dog now. And that is what counts. Fitz was overstimulated, pushed past his limits, and every single time we went back to the dog park, it just wound him tighter and tighter and tighter. And I didn't know. I didn't understand what I was seeing. So when I started noticing that he had become more sensitive, more barking in the apartment, more freezing on walks, overreacting to little teeny tiny things, that's when I made my next move and decided that it was time for something different. A private yard, something maybe a little bit calmer, a little bit more digestible for him, some space of our own where we didn't have to worry about dogs or people or small children rushing us and getting in our face. And that's when I made the decision to move into a house with my previous partner, which turned out to be probably the worst thing that I could have done. I talk about that more in the previous episode, the first solo episode, number 79. So go check out that episode for more details on that. But in short, I put us in an even more chaotic, unpredictable, and emotionally unsafe environment. I was trying to fix Fitz's behavior, but my mental and emotional state was completely falling apart. And in the middle of all of that, I still had no help, no prospects, nothing. Because everywhere I turned, I was met with: use a prong collar, use an e-collar. He needs more structure. He needs to learn who's the boss. And none of that sat right with me. And it still doesn't. I don't understand this crazy fixation that humanity has when it comes to control. Why do we need to control a living being? Dogs are sentient beings with thoughts and emotions and unique personalities. And we just want to tamp that down? What is the point of having a dog if you can't have a relationship and have fun and engage with this wonderful, creature that lives in your house and maybe snuggles in your bed or on your couch and just loves you unconditionally. Why would you want to just forcefully control that? That doesn't seem like a very loving relationship to me. There wasn't any information out there on what to do instead. Nobody was talking about what a dog like Fitz needed to thrive. Nobody was talking about what a dog like Fitz was experiencing, how overstimulation and fear and pressure from the outside world was actually causing him to react the way that he was. And it wasn't until Fitz was 4 years old that I stopped trying to fix him and actually started to listen to him. And by then, we were deep in the guilt, deep in the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment of our situation. I remember that last day that we went to the dog park where he screeched on his brakes the second I got him out of the car. And I still made him go into the dog park. Oh, that moment lives rent-free in my head. But we were at the dog park and he needed to get his energy out and I needed him to go for a walk around the loop. And we got halfway down the entryway and he put his brakes on again and a whole pack of dogs rushed up on us and he turned around and he ran back to the gate. I was embarrassed. I started to cry. I put his leash on him and I took him back to the car and we went home and we never went to the dog park again. I knew in that moment he wasn't being stubborn. He wasn't being a jerk. He was scared. He was overwhelmed and he didn't know what to do. So he said, bye. I put him in that situation. A situation that he wasn't prepared for because I did not properly set him up for success. I did not give him the tools and the framework and the systems to help him be successful in an environment where there was a million things going on. He didn't know what to do, and it was my fault. I didn't set him up properly to be successful in a situation like that. I know that now. I didn't know that then. And that is why I wanted to make this episode. Because I know that I am not the only one who has felt that way or will feel that way in the future. Your reactive dog is not giving you a hard time. They are having a hard time. And if you stop and slow down and take a minute to listen, I promise you it will change everything. So, for the big beefy part of this show, let's go over the 5 things your reactive dog wishes they could say to you. Number 1, I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm trying to feel safe. This isn't about control. It's about protection. Your dog is reacting the way that its brain is telling them to. It's doing the best it can with limited information about all of the things that is going on around them. It is your job to take your dog and slowly introduce them to new environments and stimuli, the things happening in the environment. Some dogs can't do all of that in one big swoop. Some dogs are great at it, but other dogs are not. So it's your job to take a step back and see what you can do to help your dog be successful in the situation. Number 2, I need smaller steps than you think I do. You don't have to do everything at once. Something that we feel is very insignificant can feel like a really big deal to our dogs. So if the biggest thing that you achieve is walking down the stairs, walking out onto the porch, and then going back inside, take the win. Sometimes that's all they have the capacity to do. And practicing this over and over and over again until they become relaxed and calm is when it's time to make it a little bit harder. But that doesn't mean walk all the way to the end of the driveway. Maybe that means we just sit on the front porch for a little bit instead and have some snacks. Every dog is different, and the size of the step matters. Number 3, walks don't always make me feel better. For me and Fitz, the turning point was stopping structured walks. End of story. Treat searches, trick training, games in the yard, all of that did way more for Fitz than a walk ever could. Because not only was he comfortable, he was having fun, and that matters. Number 4, you don't have to explain me, just protect me. You don't need to explain why your dog has a muzzle. You don't need to explain why you're crossing the street. You don't need to explain why you're turning the other way. You have a right to your own safety and peace of mind, and so does your dog. If that means getting the heck out of Dodge, then get out of Dodge. Number 5, you're not failing. I see your effort. Every time you turn around, instead of pushing your dog through and forcing them to do something they're clearly asking you to not do, that is where growth happens. That is where the trust builds. That is where the confidence starts to blossom. That is what progress looks like. This is where trust starts. So if you're deep in the reactivity hole with your dog, I want you to hear me say this. You are not doing it wrong. You are not behind. You are learning. And honestly, that makes you the perfect guardian or pet parent for your dog. It's okay if you didn't know. It's okay if you're learning backwards. I did too. And it brought me here. If this episode resonated with you, share it with somebody who's in this space. Someone who might need the reminder that it's not about perfection, it's about presence. And I'll see you in the next episode.